But there are larger questions that people are very concerned about, and we've had questions reflecting general concerns around the state of the NHS in terms of staff relations, employment conditions, but also stretching out across the whole of the public sector and the economy around teaching and the whole burden on graduates as well. But the specific question that I want to ask: how are you going to retain experienced teachers, doctors, nurses, therapists and workers in the public sector? They're not even given additional time to train new staff now, let alone the thousands of new staff promised inside manifestos. So I'm going to ask, wow, Kingsley now.
Hi. The whole system is, quite frankly, buggered, excuse the language. The cost of living is so, it's impossible to go to university without getting yourself saddled up with debt. And how do we hold on to these members of staff? People don't want to get into these industries because it's too expensive. It's too expensive to go to university. It's too expensive to live. So we find ourselves relying on staff from other countries, and they do fantastic work. They do amazing work, but people can't afford to live. They cannot afford to work. They cannot afford to bring the new recruits in. We have to have new recruits in to make up for retirement, for lost stuff. And the thing is, if living is too expensive, we're never going to get that. We're never going to fix that problem. I believe all of this problem, most of our problems, come from the excessive house prices that are caused predominantly by people just buying up properties, becoming multiple property landlords and becoming monopolisers with our property. It makes it impossible to rent. As a student, it's, you're saddled with £27,000 worth of debt. £9,000 a year for 3 years, that's £27,000 worth of debt. Before you've even started, people think, do you know what, I just don't want to do it anymore. I'm just not going to bother. If we don't make it easier for our recruits to be recruited, we won't have any, and we won't have anybody to replace teachers, staff, doctors and everything else. We've got to get the cost of living crisis down.
Thank you very much. Luke.
Thank you very much. I probably agree with a lot of what Kingsley's just said there. So how do you retain teachers and I think broadly public sector workers in their jobs? Both my parents were teachers, I might have mentioned that, and so I know how difficult that job is. My brother was also a teaching assistant for a time. He had to leave because he couldn't make ends meet on salaries that teaching assistants paid, but he also couldn't deal with the workload and the pressure that TAs are put under when they go through the teacher training. And it reflects the Conservative approach to state education, which is too underfunded. I'm sure that most of their children, their families go to private schools, so they don't have to worry about the rest of us. But unfortunately, 93% of people do use our state schools. We need to be funding education so that people can achieve the best outcomes and the best start in life. And if we're not doing that, we're not supporting the teachers, and we're losing them through overwork, through stress, through having to work into different industries to make ends meet. And that's the fundamental problem, it's per pupil funding. If we are not addressing the other causes, as Hamilton so correctly identified, the cost of living, the inflation that's been out of control since Truss's disastrous budget 2 years ago. If we're not building enough homes so that people can afford to rent or to buy and to live in secure accommodation, if people cannot access the NHS to live healthily and happily, we will never fix the fundamentally broken Britain. And if we vote to continue what we're doing at the same time on Thursday, then we will not have a chance to address that. Thank you.
Tom.
I'd love to know where you got the stat that most Conservatives send their children to private school. My girls went to Greenshaw. But anyway, we're part of that. Another stat to pull out of the air. Right, we all want to retain staff, we all want to retain good quality staff, and one of the ways we do that, as has rightly been said, is you make their lives easier. What Luke's just said is, oh, if you want change, you've got to do this on Thursday. Actually, let's have a think about it. He talked about inflation spiraling out. Inflation is now down to its target, as we promised. Debt is falling, as we promised. We are the fastest growing G7 economy, faster than the US at the moment. That came out last week. Now, the point is, the reason I tell you this is it's because the plan is working. With a strong economy. Well, I've just told you the facts. I mean, you can laugh at the fact, but they are the facts on the table.
They're not facts.
With a strong, you may not be feeling it yet, but you will be feeling it. And with a strong economy, it means with a strong economy, it means you can retain these people, and that's what it's about. Or you can risk it, and that's your choice. You can see what's happening. You can see what's happening with the economy, or you can risk it on Thursday. The choice is yours.
Thank you, Tom. Tracy.
So the Green Party, you'll be unsurprised to learn, has a Charter of Workers' Rights. We want to restore workers' and union rights. We see unions as a vital partner. But also more fundamentally, we would invest £2 billion to lift the pay of teachers and teaching staff. We'd also invest more money. There's a scandal of the rack concrete, the structure of these school buildings. So we'd invest another £2.5 billion in that to sort that out. That's a legacy that needs sorting out, shouldn't have been allowed to go on this long. But the Greens have other more fundamental policies as well about broader workers' rights, things like the 10-to-1 pay ratio, which, if you're not familiar with it, means that the people earning the most in any organisation, public, private, charity, wherever, do not earn more than 10 times the lowest paid. Wouldn't that be a breath of fresh air and try and level up some of the economy, because the trickle-down effect doesn't work, as you've probably realised. We'd increase the national minimum wage for all, and we'd also restore the employment maintenance allowance and scrap tuition fees. These are policies that should never have been brought in, so we need to restore the funding to make sure that people are not planning to go overseas as soon as they finish school, as soon as they've graduated, and that they're not out of work for a length of time with a degree saddled with 60 grand's worth of debt and wondering how the hell they're going to be able to afford a house before they hit 65. So there are means and the funding to do this. It's not rocket science. Other countries do it. We can too.
Thank you very much, Tracy. I was particularly taken by your 1 to 10 ratio thing. As an unpaid church minister, I'm going to have to take that up with the bishop. So we come on now to the question. Oh, have I done you again? I am so sorry. I'll tell you what it is, because I've got Brian sat all the way through. Krishni, thank you. Thank you for being so understanding I was just overwhelmed by working out how little I earned compared with the bishop.
Right, yes, retaining staff, really important matter, because services everywhere are crumbling and we don't have enough teachers at school. Children are being taught by supply teachers. This is happening across the NHS and various other sectors. So the Labour Party, we have a fair deal for working people, and this means getting the right value for the work that you do, making sure that work pays you. And in order to retain people as well, we need to make what the deal says is that you need to make the job more family friendly. If you have children, maybe putting in things in place where you can work from home, or if it's a job where you can't work from home, ensuring that there's services or support available at your office or wherever you work to ensure that that is taken care of. Ensuring that there's no fire and rehire, no 0-hour contracts, and to ensure that enough support and training is available for workers to fulfill the roles and responsibilities of their job. Thank you.
Thank you.